Imagine being told you can't go home for at least a year and a half. That's the reality now facing thousands of Alaskans after a historic storm battered the state's western coast, leaving many to wonder whether home will ever be the same. Over the weekend of October 12th, the remnants of Typhoon Halong slammed into western Alaska with the force of a Category 2 hurricane. Wind gusts topped 100 miles per hour, and water rose more than 6 feet above normal high tide. The record-breaking storm surge inundated the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, a vast, low-lying stretch of tundra where 49 remote, mostly indigenous communities sit with no roads to the outside world. The human toll is staggering. More than 2,000 people have been forced from their homes. At least one person was killed, and 2 others remain missing in Kwigillingak after their house washed out to sea. In Kipnuk, an initial survey found 121 homes, about 90% of the village, destroyed. In Kwigillingak, every single home was damaged, and roughly 30 dozen floated off their foundations. A state emergency official called the situation in Kipnuk catastrophic. Stories of survival are equally dramatic. Coast Guard and Alaska National Guard crews hoisted dozens to safety, some from houses drifting in open water, while families flashed phone lights for rescue. Residents watched helplessly as homes floated miles inland in the darkness. Now, one of the largest airlifts in Alaska's history is underway. Massive C-17 transport planes are ferrying evacuees from regional hubs to emergency shelters 500 miles away in Anchorage. The city has converted a sports arena and convention center into temporary housing and is prepared to shelter up to 1,600 people. Governor Mike Dunleavy has declared a state of emergency and requested a major disaster declaration from President Donald Trump, a move that would unlock critical federal aid. Alaska's congressional delegation says the scale of destruction is beyond the state's capacity to handle alone. The toughest challenge lies ahead: recovery during an Arctic winter. State officials warn many evacuees may not return home for at least 18 months. As temperatures plummet, construction will soon grind to a halt, and every plank of lumber, generator, and nail must be flown or barged into these roadless villages.
Power systems, sanitation facilities, and even airstrips have been damaged or destroyed. For displaced residents, the future is uncertain. Authorities hope to move families from mass shelters to hotels and eventually into more stable housing. Yet many may have to start new lives in unfamiliar cities, far from the subsistence hunting and fishing that define village life. The disaster was not unforeseen. A 2022 report prepared for local indigenous communities warned that severe flooding was becoming more frequent and listed community relocation as an urgent need. The storm has turned that warning into an immediate humanitarian crisis and underscored the long-term threats facing western Alaska. For now, the priority is shelter, food, and safety. But the question looms: when the waters recede and winter sets in, where and how will thousands of Alaskans rebuild their lives?